Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation. Today I'm taking a look at the DC Multiverse Gold Label Rival, and huge thanks to McFarlane Toys for making this video possible by sending me this figure to review. Starting with the packaging, and nothing out of the ordinary here. We do have our gold label though, reminding us that this is a store exclusive, Target in this instance. This version of the Rival is from Injustice Society, and if you want to find him at your Target, here's the UPC. On the back we have some comic style artwork. I did some Googling, but couldn't find this image exactly, so it might actually be original. Though I did find an image that was fairly similar it might have been based off of. This one, however, captures his creepy, sadistic grin. On that note, this box does continue the long-standing McFarlane tradition of posing Flash characters in running poses. For packaging, I'm giving the Rival 5 points. Moving on to presentation, and the Rival stands at 7¼ inches and is near complete reuse of Jay Garrick. This makes sense as the Rival is essentially the reverse Flash to Jay Garrick's Flash. Edward Clariss was Jay Garrick's chemistry teacher and cracked the formula of the hard water that gave Jay his super speed. Wait a minute, hard water? Is Jay Garrick just from Florida? The only new piece is the head. Kind of. When the Rival was revealed, I saw a lot of speculation online that the head was just reused from the comedian version of the Joker, and that's partly right. Side by side, you can definitely see the similarity. Clearly they used the comedian as a base model, but they softened a lot of the harsher lines and also tidied up the hair. They also used black paint to shadow out the eyes and add some lightning effects. Again, not unlike how they painted the shadows on the comedian. At a distance, the effect is actually pretty effective. Up close, and it kind of looks like he's being electrocuted by a sleep mask. Oh, and hey buddy, you got a little something right there. Don't make a brown-nosing joke. Don't make a brown-nosing joke! At first I thought the helmet was reused from the speed metal version of Jay, but comparing it to pictures online, and nope, this is a new sculpt. The body is otherwise the same, which is the initial reason why I was interested in this figure. As much as I like this Jay Garrick, I always thought that the colors were a bit on the bright side, so I wanted to try this combination. I know, right? A head swap so early in the video? This color scheme pairs really well with Alan Scott Green Lantern. Not so much other Golden Age characters like Action Comics 1 Superman or the Platinum Edition Hawkman, but still, I do feel like there's something there. If you want to do this custom though, just keep in mind you will have to paint the neck and fingers. If not, this is still a fun Flash villain to have in your collection. In fact, the character dates back to 1941, making him one of the few Golden Age villains we have. Paint-wise, they've done a fairly decent job, and I really like the gold for the wings on the ankles and helmet. As I see it, the only missed opportunity was not painting the belt. Not doing so makes it look like his trousers are just pulled up really high, which I guess makes sense since it's the 40s. I'm not saying it's wrong, I just have one question. Did I do that? Not just for the head swap potential, but overall I really like this guy. But admittedly, I'm a little bit on the fence about the painted shadows around the eyes. It's one of those things I think that just really boils down to personal taste. That said, for presentation, I'm giving the Rival a still very solid 4 points. Moving on to posability, and if you saw my original Jay Garrick video, you'd have an idea of what this figure is capable of, and overall I've got to admit he's pretty impressive. From the top, and I will say the long hair does kind of get in the way, but if you push the head back and then tilt up, he actually looks up pretty well. Additionally, he can really bury the chin. And that's to say nothing about burying the nose. Dang it, I was doing so well! Of course, there are a few things creepier than a tilted, grinning head, except for maybe when a head spins all the way around. Moving down, he can raise his arm 90 degrees, thanks to the rotator cuff, and he can roll around any which way. And then moving down the arm, we've got bicep swivel, double jointed elbow with a really deep bend, and McFarlane wrist balls that can swivel and hinge either up and down or wave side to side. Charmed. Moving to the middle, and of course Eddie has a diaphragm joint and a dumbbell waist. Putting his arms at 90 degrees, we get a sense for just how far back he can arch, but he can hunch forward this far, which is a lot better than usual. Naturally, he has tilt and twist. Below the hiked up Urkel pants, and Rival has the typical McFarlane hips. He can kick this high, which is great, and get a perfect split. Out of the package, and the hip twist isn't quite as good as it could be. I'm gonna hit it with some heat though to see if that makes a difference. And yeah, I just popped the leg off and hit it with a hairdryer, and now the twist is much better. Moving on down, he has double jointed knee with a nice deep bend, toe articulation, and McFarlane ankles that can swivel, hinge, and like Edward Clariss going from chemistry teacher to criminal mastermind, Pivot. Wait a minute. Chemistry teacher to criminal mastermind? So the rival is just Walter White? Or should I say Walter White is the rival? Joking aside, this is a very well articulated body, and it's definitely elevated by better range in the abdomen. For posability, I'm giving the rival 5 points. Moving on to playability, and this guy is loaded. Naturally, he has a trading card and a figure stand. If you want to read what that says, pause here. But since he's a repaint of Jay Garrick, he also comes with all the accessories that Jay Garrick came with. That includes these clip-on lightning pieces. They're just like Jay's, but cast in blue instead of yellow. I know McFarlane reuses these pieces a lot, but I don't care. It's still a really fun effect. Additionally, not only does he have these doing the robot hands, he also has Jay's fists. But if that wasn't enough, McFarlane even added an extra pair of monologue hands. These aren't reuse either. They've been individually sculpted just for this figure. Given what an easy repaint this was, well, I appreciate that. Even with so many great add-ins, playability is more than just accessories. It's also about how well your figure plays with others. Although I've already shown you this side by side, it only makes sense to start with Jay Garrick himself. But for some other Justice Society members, and here we have Alan Scott Green Lantern, and the Platinum Edition Hawkman. I hope that a classic comic style Dr. Fate is in the pipeline, but in the meantime, here we have Injustice 2 and the Black Adam movie versions. But for just a couple of other Golden Age heroes, and here we have Action Comics #1 Superman, and Detective Comics 27 Batman. Otherwise, and for some more modern Flashes, and here we have Rebirth, as well as the Flashpoint version. But for a couple of other members of the Flash family, and here we have Bart Allen, aka Impulse, and Wallace West, aka Kid Flash. As for some other Flash villains, and for the most recognizable Reverse Flash, and here we have Ebbard Thawne, Godspeed, Dark Flash, also known as Black Flash, Page Puncher's Captain Cold, and Injustice 2 Gorilla Grodd. For a relative scale comparison, here's Edward with Pizza Spidey and the Spectacular Spider-Man, and as always, here he is with Stealth Iron Man. I take it that you're an evil Iron Man? What makes you say that? Because you look just like him, but in darker colors. Boy, are you gonna be confused when you see all of Batman's costumes. For playability, I'm giving the rival 5 points. This leaves us with nothing left to discuss but the price. Again, the rival's a Target exclusive and retails for $22.99. Maybe because he's a more obscure character, but he's been pretty well stocked at my Targets. Additionally, with so many accessories, there's a lot of value in this box. Whether you want to head swap him with Jay Garrick or just add a classic Flash villain to your collection, I'd say give him a try. For price, I'm giving the rival 5 points, averaging out to a grand total of 4.8 out of 5. Before this action figure, did you ever hear of this character? Sound off in the comments below, and once again, huge thanks to McFarlane Toys for making this video possible. If you like this video, check out one of these. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again real soon, but until then, play nice and have fun.